Jackie, I'm going to start letting people in.
Okay. Jeff Borchardt, was tentative, so Julie Olander is the vice chair, and she's on there.
Thanks, Jackie. Let's see what we get here. Morning, everyone. I have 9 o'clock on my watch. Maybe to give it just another minute or two. Looks like people are still kind of rolling in. Okay, well, I think I'm going to get started with a roll call here and a few reminders. Julie, I see that you're on the call. It looks like Jeff Borchardt is not present, at least at the moment. As vice chair, are you able to kind of facilitate the meeting this morning?
Yeah, I can. I don't have the agenda in front of me. I'll have to pull it up real quick.
Okay, no worries. And let me know if you need anything. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, well, with that, I am going to take a roll call, see if we have a quorum. Just reading from my list here, starting with Kevin Very.
Here. Thanks, Dan. Sorry.
No worries. Thanks, Kevin. Alex Wolfson.
Present.
Kurt Dietrich.
Present.
Jeff Borchardt. Let's see, and Jeff.
And then I said,
Amber Sosa.
Good morning, I'm here.
Thanks, Amber. Ian Crittenden. We have Ian on the call. Looks like no. Okay. Mitch Fink.
Here.
Mitch, Julie Olander,
Here.
Daniel Inouye,
Here.
Chris Tully,
Here.
Elaine Weissman. Sandy Freund. Sandy did reach out to me and she's getting a new laptop, so she might not be able to join. Lissa Butterfield.
This is Chris with the airport. Lissa won't be on today.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And Enos Han.
Here.
Enos. With that, it does look like we do have a quorum. And I'm just going to read into the record everyone else in attendance from RTC. Myself, Daniel Dengis, Jacqueline Maldonado, David Carr, Jim Yee, Amber Bosmith, Amy Cummings, Mark Maloney, Becca Capular. Sorry, all my names just shifted. Shen Wong, Stephanie Haddock, and I think I got everyone from RTC. Did I miss anyone? Okay, hearing none. And it looks like Jeff just joined us.
Yes.
Welcome, Jeff.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. My apologies. I was on a legislative meeting, so I'm trying to bounce from Zoom to Zoom today.
No worries. That sounds important. Well, if you're willing and able, I could turn it over to you to get the meeting rolling.
Perfect. Well, we'll call this meeting to order. It is 9:04 a.m. on March 4th, 2021. Dan, it sounds like you were taking roll. So do we have a quorum at this point?
We do have a quorum, and I do see Kelly Mullen is joining just for the record as well.
Yes, and she was on with me. So we're both coming from the same meeting.
Makes sense.
All right. So we will move on to item number 1, which is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Chris Tully, Team RPA, so moved.
All right, we have a motion by Chris Tully. May I have a second, please?
Amber Sosa, City of Sparks, second.
Amber you jumped in before Kurt, so we will say a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. We'll move on to item number 2, which is public comment. Dan, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Wonderful. So we'll move on to item number 3, which is approval of the February 4th, 2021 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any comments or corrections on the minutes before we look for a motion? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move to, this is Julie Olander. I move to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Julie. We have a motion by Julie Olander. May I have a second?
Chris Tully, Team RPA, will second that.
And then a second from Chris Tully. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstain? Perfect. All right. So we will move on to item number 4, which is recommend approval of the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan. And this one is for possible action today. So Dan, do we have a presentation on this one, or are we just moving straight into
We
questions?
do. I'm going to turn it over to Amy Cummings, Director of Planning.
Perfect.
Thank you. Amy Cummings with RTC, and appreciate the chance to bring the RTP to you today. We are requesting approval today. You have all been working with us over the last year to bring this project into completion. I appreciate all of the efforts of this team, and it's just been so appreciated by us here at RTC. I know many of you have reached out to us over the last few weeks with questions and comments and edits, and we've done our best to incorporate all of those. And I do have a presentation to share. It is not showing up as my option of things to share that I have open at the moment. So, I will just, as I look for that, continue to give you a brief update of some of the things that we've been working on that have changed. One of the items that we took this to our board last meeting, and there were a couple of items related to the guiding principles that we had heard input from the jurisdictions and from the Regional Planning Governing Board. So we were able to incorporate that. Okay, I have the presentation here. Hopefully that is visible to everyone. So this is the update on the guiding principles. Our board did approve the expansion of this to include equity and under economic prosperity, equity, and innovation in our guiding principles, as well as expanding the sustainability guiding principle to include climate action. So you see those reflected here, and these are in the draft report that is posted up for public comment. The goals themselves have not changed. These correspond to the chapters in the Regional Transportation Plan. The projects, for the most part, are very similar to what you've seen over the last couple of months. I don't think we had any changes in these first 5 years. So again, these are projects approved by the jurisdictions for future development that are privately constructed, projects coming out of our South Meadows study, our previous North Valley study, the Audie Wells project that's getting ready for construction, the projects identified in our downtown circulation study, such as really improving that connectivity between surrounding neighborhoods into downtown. Some of the changes that were requested by our board at our most recent meeting were to shift the design for phase 3 of the Pyramid 395 connector out to 2031 time period, and to add an additional project that you can see up here on North Pyramid Highway near Calle de la Plata. That's a southbound lane to address some safety concerns. So that is new from the previous version that you've seen. I believe everything else is about the same. Again, we have the projects from the Sparks Industrial Study. This one, we do have a more updated version with Rock Boulevard, so I apologize that I did not include that here. And for the out years, the 2026 to 2030 years of the RTP, this is the North Valley's projects for 2026 to 2030. And then in the out years, the 2031 to 2050, you see the other major capacity projects in the North Valleys that we've talked about, as well as additional multimodal improvements in the urban core. So no changes to this from the previous versions that you've seen. And again, our multimodal and capacity projects in the South Valleys area as well. In terms of transit, we have updated, or will be updating our transit short-range plan to continue to be as effective and productive as we can with our service. We don't anticipate a lot of funding coming in on the horizon to expand service significantly, but we do want to move forward with these capacity facilities projects that are currently in development. And that's expanding 4th Street Station to the south here, continuing our bus stop accessibility and sidewalk connectivity program, and upgrading our Peppermill Station northbound so that it's fully ADA compliant and has enough seating. We also want to continue with our Flex Ride program that has been very popular with our customers. And continue, again, we don't have the funding identified to be able to operate this service identified in the plan, but we want to have this aspirational element in there. It's referred to as our transit vision to extend our BRT service, the Virginia line and the Lincoln line, to serve those growing areas of our community. So we are in our 21-day public comment period. The draft plan is on our website. That link was included as part of the packet materials. And we'll be having a public hearing on March 19th at the RTC board meeting and looking for RTC board action. Following this, once it's approved by the RTC board, we will send it to FHWA and FTA for their review and concurrence with our air quality conformity analysis. We do have an air quality consultation group that has met and reviewed the air quality analysis in the plan and has confirmed that that meets current practices and standards and that we are in conformance with those air quality requirements. So with that, I want to thank all of you for working with us on this plan over the last year. And again, the item today is seeking your recommendation of approval of this plan to the RTC board.
Thank you, Amy. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
Chris Tully, Team RPA, just one question, and appreciate the work that you guys have put into producing the document. I'm wondering how you guys are going to address any comments that are submitted in between now and the board hearing.
We will take a look at those comments. If it's something that we are able to accommodate, we will make those changes and then report back on what those changes are to the RTC board. And we'll have a summary of those comments provided to the board as well, so that they're aware of what has come in during the comment period.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Anyone else? Well, I guess I can say thank you. You guys have all been extremely open and willing to meet with us on a regular basis, at least at the City of Reno. You guys have had multiple conversations with various different staff members at all different levels, and then even us as a group last week. And so it's been much appreciated. And I know that many of our projects are included, and I know our council appreciates it. So thank you so much. With that being said, may I have a motion to recommend approval?
Julie Olander, I approve the recommend approval.
Perfect. So Julie, thank you for the motion. May I have a second?
Second, Daniel Inoue, Washoe County Health.
We have a second from Daniel Inoue. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Perfect. Well, there you go. There's your recommendation for approval. And go forth.
Thank you.
We will move on to item number 5, which is recommend approval of the 21-25 Regional Transportation Improvement Program project listing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dan Denges for the record, RTC planning. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the RTP, the Regional Transportation Improvement Program, or RTIP as we call it, is basically the 5-year document program of projects. This pulls directly from the first 5 years of the RTP. There are additional programs in there that we don't really get to the level of detail that in the RTP, like support of the Safe Routes School to School program, pavement preservation program, administering the transportation alternative projects. Those are listed in here from each of the local jurisdictions. But with that said, it's essentially the first 5 years of the RTP, just listing the projects in a little bit more detail, identifying the funding sources that will be used to implement those projects and the different phases of those projects. This is also in a 21-day public comment period on the same track as the RTP. So we anticipate a public hearing at the March 19th board meeting. And it is subject to the same requirements for transportation conformity. The nice thing about doing these two documents concurrently is we only have to do one air quality analysis. So by the RTP meeting, the transportation conformity, the first 5 years, which is kind of the subset, also meets conformity for all those capacity projects. There's, I think, about 75 projects in the listing in your packet. So I don't intend to go through them one by one, but if there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, we're just looking for the committee approval, recommendation of approval of the draft RTIP. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Does anybody have any questions? Perfect. Any motions? Come on, y'all.
Daniel Inoue, Washoe County Health. I move to recommend approval of the federal fiscal year 21-25 RTIP project listing.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Mitchell Fink, Washoe County, second.
Thank you, Mitch. All those in favor? Oh, actually, any further discussion before we move forward with the vote? Nope. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Anybody abstain? Perfect. All right. Motion passes. And so we will move on to item number 6, which is development updates. Does anybody want to provide any development updates? All right. Well, I guess I can provide our development update. So the first 2, or I guess 3 daybreak projects are finally done and approved for a tentative map, and are. I think that there's another daybreak phase that has come in. So those are some fairly large projects. On the 24th of this month, we have the large Centera project that is going forward out in Verdi to City Council. And I think those are the large projects that have come forth at this moment for development projects. Anybody else? Perfect. We'll move on to member items, number 7. And we'll start with City of Reno. Kurt, do you have anything?
No updates at this time. Thank you.
Perfect. Airport Authority?
Nothing to update at this time.
Thank you. And we'll move on to City of Sparks.
Nope, we're good for today. Thanks.
Thanks, Amber. FHWA?
I don't have any updates.
Thank you. And Washoe County?
This is Mitchell Fink. No updates today. Thank you.
Perfect. AQMD?
Good morning. This is Daniel Inoue. Just a quick update on one of the bills we're following at legislature. It is currently a BDR by Assemblyman Watts. It's number 58, and it is related to the classic vehicle license plates and to close the loophole related to that. So that is one of the bills that we're following.
Thank you. NDOT?
This is Kevin Very. On the planning side of NDOT, I don't have anything to add, but I imagine Alex Wolfson might have something from district.
It's quiet today, and I actually don't have anything to add either. But thank you.
Thank you both. Regional, Chris, do you have anything?
I don't. I'm trying to think of something, but I don't know. Thank you, Bill.
School district? See Sandy? I don't see Sandy today. So we'll move on to Reno Sparks Indian Colony. I don't
believe we have anyone with
Elaine on either today. All right, perfect. So we'll move on to item number 8, which is future TAC meeting agenda items. Does anybody have any suggestions? So once the 2050 RTP gets adopted, what are you going to fill our agendas with, guys?
Well,
Do you have
there's
any
always
suggestions?
Well, I think we'll likely have our draft unified planning work program for you next month to look at.
Okay. All right, perfect. So item number 9, RTC staff items.
Good morning.
I do not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Good morning, everybody. For the record, Jim Gee, Manager of Service Planning and Innovation here at the RTC. One big announcement on the transit side, and that's our Virginia Line extension opens on Saturday. Yes, thank you, Jeff. This extension goes from downtown Reno up to the UNR campus and the Lawler Center, includes 8 new stations, both in UNR and the Midtown area. And we're really excited because it connects our best route in terms of frequency and ridership with the 20,000 or so students, faculty, and staff up on the campus. In lieu of a large public event to mark the occasion, we're going to have a virtual official launch on Monday. And that'll be on our RTC Facebook page, and it'll be Monday, March 8th at 11 o'clock. And that'll be live streamed on Facebook. We're also marking the occasion with free rides on the Virginia Line only for the first 2 weeks of the service, so from March 6th to March 19th. But we finally have that project behind us, and glad for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else have announcements? Perfect. Well, we will move on to item number 10, which is public comment. Dan, did any additional public comment come in during the rest of this meeting?
Nothing came in the last 20 minutes.
Perfect. All right, so we'll move on to item number 11, which is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Chris Toll, ACMRPA, so moved.
Thanks, Chris. And then a second?
Julie Olander, second.
And thank you, Julie. All those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
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 Bye. And bye.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great, wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.